And good evening and welcome to episode number 6 of the Finger Lakes Golfer Podcast on FingerLakes1.com and FingerLakes1.tv. Here on Monday night, July 21st, 2014. I'm your host, Jim Sinacropi. And once again, I'm joined in studio by my co-host, the Big Easy, Bob LaPrade. Thanks again for joining me up here tonight, Bob.
Not a problem.
And boy, Bob, a lot to talk about this week. This is a big show. I think this might be our biggest show yet. We have, in just a moment, we'll have Kevin Smith. He's the owner of The Point Golf. He's going to show you a fantastic training tool. And honestly, after using it, actually I have it right here, the Point putter, practice putter. And after using it, it is probably my favorite practice training tool I've ever seen or used. Probably because it's fun to use. You know, it's a lot of training aids just aren't enjoyable to use, but this thing's great. So we'll talk to Kevin in just a moment. Of course, we're going to talk about Rory McIlroy's Open Championship, the third leg of the career Grand Slam at Royal Liverpool on Sunday. Bob's pick of the week is an awesome one this week. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take advantage of it after I checked it out after you sent it over. We'll give you the 6th hole of our Finger Lakes Dream 18, and then, of course, my Zen tip of the week. So, right off the bat, I'd like to introduce Kevin Smith. He's a Waterloo, New York native, former Seneca Falls Country Club member, guy I golfed with before, and honestly, he's a guy that I looked up to because he's a few years older than me. He has a brother, Jeremy, who is a good golfer. I think went on to be a golf pro, actually, and played a lot of golf with him back in the day. But he's one of those guys I looked up to and enjoyed playing with because he was always nice to me as a younger guy. And sure enough, 20 years later, here we are talking on a podcast.
Right.
So without further ado, I definitely want to welcome in Kevin Smith via Skype in Florida. How you doing tonight, Kevin?
I'm doing good, Jimmy. It's good to see you again. It's been a while, and Bob, it's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well, Kevin.
So Kevin's the owner of a company called The Point Golf, and really what the main product or the first product is this putter. Let me see if I can pull it back up and show you here on the screen. The Point Golf, the Point Practice putter. And as I take off this head cover, you are going to see that it's not like a normal putter. There's just a little point there that, so you can imagine how pure and square your putt has to be to roll it on the green with the Point Practice putter.
Right. You got to dial it in.
So, and I mentioned in the intro, this thing is fun to use. It's a perfect thing, I think, that you can use over the winter around here, too. And after using this thing, it creates the muscle memory, and then you bring out your putter, and you're just immediately going to make more putts, hit more solid, true putts. And so, Kevin, why don't you give us a little history about the Point Practice putter?
Jimmy, I was on Finger Lakes One's website, I think it was in 2010, and saw that a gentleman by the name of Peter Pontius, who's another Waterloo native, had developed this product called The Point. And he used to play some music at our restaurant that we owned up in Geneva. And I had said to my father, I said, we know Peter Pontius, and I was very intrigued with the look of the Point Practice putter. So we ended up contacting Peter, and he sent us 3 or 4 of them and wanted us to evaluate it for him. And my brother Jeremy, who's a club pro down here in Southwest Florida, and my brother-in-law Mike Scully, who's the director of golf former director at Medina Country Club, and is now at Desert Mountain out in Scottsdale. We spent about 3 or 4 months working with the product, and Jeremy and I both had said to each other, this thing is really, really pretty cool, and it's got some pretty strong merits as it pertains to face angle and path at impact. And not only is it just a training aid, but it's also a diagnostic aid as well, because it tells players when their stroke is going off, when you start to see balls getting kicked out to the right or to the left, it lets you know that your stroke is not on center and your face angle isn't square at impact. Where when you practice with your regular putter, you can sit there and wheel along for hours on end and really not, you can say, oh, I'm pushing it and do all this kind of stuff and really never know and just hone a bad stroke. So we felt it had some strong merit, and now we've taken it to market.
The thing I like about it the most after using it this weekend, and I brought it down to the club on Saturday and showed some people, and everybody thought it was fun to use and thought it was pretty cool and wanted to try it. But one of the things that struck me as being superior about this was when you do hit the point, when you do hit the perfect putt and the ball goes straight, it feels like you're using a regular putter. It doesn't feel chintzy, if it's well made. The head's a nice weight. I think I got 34-inch version there, and I was particularly impressed by when you hit it, how good it felt. It felt like a regular putter. Was there any type of engineering, Kevin, that went into that? Was there different versions to get to that point?
Well, Pete he had it done. A couple of different models were done, and we stuck on this one. And this one it's 303 stainless steel, which is pretty much what most of the putters are made of out there nowadays. And it's 355 grams, which if you look at like Scotty Cameron stuff, they're all 350. Now they're making them a little bit closer to 380, 390, because they're making all those counterbalanced 40-inch shaft deals. But
Right.
yeah, that has a lot to do with it. The 303 stainless is a good product, and the weighting's right, and it actually flows like a putter.
And works for a lefty or righty, same club, right?
It does.
It's symmetrical.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we had one of the more interesting trips we had was out to Arizona State University, where Tim Mickelson is the head coach. And Tim commented on, well, it's very interesting that you guys decided to incorporate it for a lefty. Now, Tim's a righty, but we obviously know his brother plays left-handed.
Right.
That's true. Maybe you can get him to give it a shot. He hasn't been putting too great lately. Talking about Phil.
Right. Yeah.
That'd be a wonderful thing if that happened.
Well, actually, you do have some big names, some touring pros that have used it. Charles Howell III, Greg Chalmers, Tim Herron on the senior tour, Russ Cochran. And I don't know if you remember from Cindy Fang. She played in the U.S. Open at Pinehurst this year. And if this is an endorsement, I don't know what is. This was at Pinehurst just a couple weeks ago. Finished 13th and had 110 putts, the lowest putt total for the women's and men's Open over the 4 days. So, that's a pretty good ringing endorsement. How do you get these touring pros involved with your product?
I have a tour rep who's out that does the PGA Tour and the web.com tours for me. And the ladies' tours I've been doing kind of myself. The Symetra Tour girl, Cindy Fang, I met her at an event here in Fort Myers, which is right where I live. And one of her girlfriends had told me that she wasn't putting real well. And she moved here from China to attend the Ledbetter Academy. And she was struggling with her putting. And I show up at the putting green, and her father, who is her caddy, he sees the logo on my shirt that says The Point Golf and sees I'm carrying this putter, and he comes running over to me and grabs it for her. So I worked with her for about 45 minutes. Then about 3 weeks later, she goes and does this at the U.S. Open, which was, it was spectacular. Finishing 13th for her after being on the Symetra Tour and not even on the LPGA Tour yet was pretty good stuff. And then having the lowest putts of anybody, men or women, for the 2 weeks was pretty crazy.
Yeah, she goes from struggling with her putter to putting better than all the best golfers in the world at the biggest event in the world, men's and women. So obviously that's a fantastic endorsement. Kevin, you mentioned something earlier, and I've seen this quote on your website at getthepointgolf.com. Sustainably great putting requires nothing more than the center of percussion impact coupled with a square face angle. And, it's true. You want to hit the putt consistently on the putter face, and you want that putter face to be square. And so can you just explain how the point putter is going to help you accomplish these things? No, it looks like we might have actually having some connection trouble, Kevin. You with me, Kevin? Well, there you go, Bob. We got our first Skype call. We're reconnecting here. We'll give him a second.
But while we're trying to get a hold of him, the one thing about this training aid is twofold, right?
Right.
It shows you your path, and it also shows how you're striking the golf ball out of the center, which is invaluable when it comes to striking good putts. And if there's any place you want to practice at any given time, it's on your putting. How many guys listening to this podcast have hit maybe a poor second shot and needed to make up that par putt, or needed that bogey putt to shoot their low round? So that's why this training aid is such an invaluable product.
We got your back, Kevin?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Looks like we just got disconnected. No problem. We were actually continuing to talk about the point while we reconnected there.
Bob, you're 100% correct. Without face angle, a square face angle, and centeredness of hit, if you're hitting either the ball all over the face, or your putter face is even slightly open at impact, it affects how that ball is going to roll out. Thus, when a lot of people say I'm having trouble with distance control, and sometimes they blame it on greens, sometimes they blame it on a lot of different things. But what it really comes down to a lot of times is that you're just not hitting solid putts, and a lot of people don't really know it because they don't have. They're not spending time in a putting lab or have a SAM computer system that analyzes their stroke. And this device here is just a rudimentary way of checking where your stroke is.
Well, it's
more at home.
It's instant feedback, right? So if you're catching the center of the ball with the point and you're pushing it or pulling it, you can see that instantly.
Right.
And if you're not catching it, if you're catching the left side or the right side of the ball, it's instant feedback again, and you can easily tell when you make that stroke. It's a great tool to solve two problems that you may be experiencing at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, one of the things that we just came out with that's a prototype that's going into production, and we should have it out within the next 6 to 8 weeks, is an adapter that we call the 2.0, which is going to go over the face of the 1/8 of an inch striking surface, and it's going to widen it out to 3/8 of an inch.
Oh, okay.
Which is going to help us with the higher handicapper, so he can graduate into that 1/8 of an inch.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And also the touring pros, namely one of them, Charles Howell III, he spends a lot of time working on his lag putts, and he's usually hitting 30-footers. And he had mentioned it to me, so we came up with a little bit wider face for hitting longer putts.
Right, great idea.
And we're pretty excited about that. That it's some of the higher handicappers have looked at it and said, "Oh my gosh, this thing's impossible." And with a bit of effort, you can actually master it pretty quick with some effort.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, it's fun. The process is fun. When you start making 5-6 foot putts with this thing, you feel pretty good about it, and then you transition back to your regular putter, and that muscle memory, takes effect, and and it's great. And actually, if our viewers hang tight, I got a special special deal for our viewers. But first, Kelly, I know you have another product that's pretty awesome. The mat, the companion putting mat that actually shows you the path of your ball.
The track putting mat is probably one of the best ways that anybody can practice their putting, especially with the point, because you've got a white solid line that goes down the middle of the track. And and it's not that I'm not advocating for people to watch their putters go back and forth.
Right.
But when you're practicing, you can peripherally see how that putter is going back. And we're trying to get people to keep their putter online, going back as far as they possibly can, and holding it on through the striking surface for another 2 inches after contact. So our feeling about that is that now that greens just about everywhere are stimping between 12 to 13, the day and age of fanning your putter blade open and giving it a roundhouse hit have really changed quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other thing about this mat, it's like you're putting in the dew in the morning because it leaves a track of where your ball went, which how did you guys accomplish that?
Well, we didn't. That's a product that we've acquired from another company who designed that. And we came across it. We're like, wow, this is a pretty cool little product.
Yeah.
Because it shows your actual putting line, so you know what happened after you hit the putt.
Nice.
So for the Finger Lakes Golfer viewers, I've got a special deal that Kevin's extended to us. Go to the getthepointgolf.com, and you can get the Point Practice putter for $129.99. That's $30 off the retail price of $159.99. And you can also get the Point Practice putter and putting mat combo for just $199.99. And again, the retail is $229.99 there. So to take advantage of that offer, go to getthepointgolf.com and enter coupon code FingerLakes1. Upon order, it's FingerLakes1, FINGERLAKES, the number 1 for the discount. And I'm thinking, Bob, that this is a fantastic Christmas present for anybody that lives up here, because I'm on Christmas morning, I don't want to I like getting the clothes and all that now that I'm older, you know what, but you want something to play with. You want something to play with on Christmas morning. So if you get one of these for that golfer in your family, I guarantee they're going to have a great Christmas afternoon. And again, all winter long, we're cooped up. Not everybody, Bob, has a training facility in their basement like you do. Some of us, I love to putt on the carpet. And it gets a little, that gets a little old after a while. But with the point, it provides that little extra bit of challenge. And, if you can hone that in, if you can hit that consistently on the point of the point putter, it's going to groove your swing. So you do that all winter, you come back in the spring, and everybody's like, what happened here? Who are you, Cindy Fang?
Right.
And the good thing about working with the Point Practice putter is that once you understand that that's the way you practice your putting, you'll never have to buy another gamer putter again, because I think we know it's the Indian, not the arrow.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And you'll be amazed at how much better you putt the ball.
Nice.
Because it truly does work.
And so, Ken, what other efforts are you making to get this product out? Is it something that you'd probably do some golf shows? Is it something that we could see in pro shops or any,
Yeah, we're in pro shops. We're in pro shops here in Florida and out in Arizona, and we offer it at a few retailers here in Southwest Florida. We're beginning to work with a company. We did a couple demo days for them by the name of the PGA Tour Superstore, which is owned by the gentleman Arthur Blank, who is Home Depot and the Atlanta Falcons.
Yep.
So we're working. We've done 2 demo days for them, and one was at the Ace Group Classic, which is a senior tour event. And then we deal a lot. We've done the PGA show. We do the collegiate golf coaches convention out in Las Vegas, which is all the Division I, Division II, and Division III coaches are out there. So we sell them to the colleges, but we're really PGA Tour Superstore. If we could get in with them, that'd help us out quite a bit, and it'd be a big deal for us.
Nice.
So, Kevin, how can people connect with you or the Point Golf online? I mean, I know you're on Twitter and.
We're on Twitter, Facebook, and they can get me at on my email at kevin@getthepointgolf.com or info@getthepoint.com. Our website's www.getthepointgolf.com.
And what's your Twitter handle for people who want to connect to you on Twitter?
It's at getthepointgolf.com.
Beautiful. Well, Kev, really appreciate you hanging out and sending us up the point putter, which I'm going to use quite a bit, and I've already been showing around, and everybody just seems to like it. It's the type of thing, Bob, that when people see it, they just want to try it, and you can have fun with it. You know, normally I'm not a training aid guy. You know that, Bob.
Yeah.
Well, Christmas is coming, or maybe your birthday, or
I might just walk out of the studio with this.
So once again, Kevin, really appreciate it, and hopefully when you get up this way, we can have you in studio.
Yeah, I may actually be up that way next week. The girls, the Symetra girls, are in Albany this week, and then in Syracuse next week. So.
Oh, no kidding. Well, hey, if you're, maybe you come up and just sit in on an episode. Most of this time we're just talking golf, and obviously you'd be great at just talking golf.
Yeah, I'll let you know if I'm up. But if you guys get a chance, get out, and the girls out on the Symetra tour, they're pretty good little players.
What course are they going to be at? You know, off the top of your head, you know the course?
In Albany, they're at Capitol Hills, which is Tony Vatter's son, Steve.
Yep.
That's his course that he's the head pro at. And then I want to say in Syracuse, I don't even know, but I think it's one that me and you and Timmy Larson and Colgrove played. I think it might be Drumlins.
You know, the fourth wasn't Colgrove. It was Eric Lorenzetti, who's actually the head pro at Turning Stone right now. Remember that day?
Yes, I do.
Remember me and Eric got in a little fight on the 18th hole over the match?
Oh yeah, those were good times.
Absolutely. Well, Kev, thanks again, and maybe we'll see you in studio next week. But appreciate the putter. You got a great product, and anything we can do to help you get the word out, we certainly we'll try to do.
We'll be talking, brother.
All right, Kev. Have a good one. Thanks.
Take care,
Bob. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Well, there you go, Bob.
Yeah, it's nice little practice tool there. I like it. You got to enjoy practicing putting. If you don't, you need to force yourself to.
Yeah, I mean, to me, when you talk about practicing, everybody thinks about beating balls on the range, but
Right.
the most fun way and most effective way to have an impact on your score is to practice putting. And like I said, this is a fun thing to use. So once again, for our viewers, it's getthepointgolf.com. Point practice putter retails at $159.99. For viewers of our podcast, $129.99. Or you get the putter putting mat combo, and you can check out the mat by going to getthepoint.com. It's one of the coolest little putting mats I've ever seen as well. So get the putter and mat combo for $199.99. Retail is $229.99. So all you have to do is enter the coupon code FingerLakes1. That's Finger Lakes, the number 1, and you'll get the discount. And again, it's tough to buy for golfers for presents for birthdays or Christmas because you don't know what club they're going to want to use. But I guarantee you get this for the golfer. First of all, they're going to be amazed that you even could come up with such a gift. And second of all, they're just going to love it, and it works for any putter, righty or lefty. And so get on over there to getthepointgolf.com and get that order in. So, Bob, our first Skype interview went quite well, I think, except for the disconnection in the middle.
Yeah,
but
there's a little hiccup there, but no problem.
But Kevin, great guest, and appreciate him coming on. But the British Open this week.
Wow.
You know, it was that performance reminded me of Tiger in his prime. You know, just wire to wire.
Yeah.
You know, winning going away. Speaking of Tiger, Rory beat him by 23 strokes, was it?
Yeah.
Tiger was +6, and we a week ago we sat around here and I said Tiger's odds were 80-1, and I think you smirked a little at that.
Yeah, I did. I really thought Tiger would have had a little bit better performance than he did have. You know, I don't know what the issue is there, but
no confidence, not a good putter.
He's not putting like he used to.
No,
that's for sure.
He's lost. Maybe he could use the point. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Kevin should send him one of those things.
Hold on. Tiger,
if you're
happen
watching,
to be watching,
or
what's his girlfriend's name? The skier.
Oh, this Lindsay.
Lindsay.
Not
Lohan.
What? She's a skier, you know.
Yeah, she's a skier. If you're watching, buy this for Tiger. He could use it.
So, yeah, I mean, and now Rory's got 3 legs of the career Grand Slam, and it seems like Augusta's going to be, you know, that seems like the one major that would suit his game best. So you think it's just a matter of time. And, you know, at age 25, maybe it's time to start wondering if Rory's going to challenge for the all-time major title.
I don't know. That's a tough mark, and I think I think the game and the players have become better, and not to take away from the Jack Nicklaus era or anything, but I think the players are more closely matched than they were back in those days.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it may. I'm not going to say it'll never be beat, but it's going to be a lot tougher than it was probably 10 years ago.
Yeah, but, you know, I agree with that at some point, but I don't think sometimes a lot of people forget about those days of all the great players. Like Nicklaus had to contend with Arnold Palmer on one end of his career, Gary Player throughout the middle, and then Tom Watson at the end. And, you know, you're talking about other, you know, just if you could get a PGA Tour roster from back then, you'd see lots of names like Guy Boros or Gene Brewer. Or, you know, you just can't, off the top of my head, I can't ring these guys off. But there were great players back then, too. And, you know, I don't necessarily buy into that. You know, I think Nicklaus really was that dominant. And the Tiger's prime, he was more dominant than maybe Nicklaus was at any point in his career. But as a whole, you know, it looks like Nicklaus is going to retain that mark, although people are still pulling for old Tiger. Bob's pick of the week.
Yes, my pick of the week is Golfer Stats Pro app for Android and iOS. Now, I actually have this app, and I've used it. Truthfully, sometimes I don't use it just because I have a hard time using the app and playing golf at the same time.
Sure, you got to enter the stuff after every hole.
Right. You either have to do that, or typically what I'll do is I'll try to remember my round at the end and enter the stats. But this thing is chock full of stats. It just has a ton of information for you, but it's not too many where it's overwhelming for you. It'll let you know where you're falling short in your rounds. You get 10 rounds in there, even 5, you can kind of tell how things are going for yourself and what you need to work on. I find it as a very helpful app for evaluating your golf game.
Yeah, as you can see here on the screen, you can see your whole scorecard, and then after every hole, you're presented with your options to you know, put in your score, your putts, where you hit or miss the fairway right or left, if you're in a bunker, any penalty shots, and you know, of course, your putts. And then you have all sorts of stats. And the thing that's interesting to me, Bob, about this app is that a lot of times you might think, geez, I really need to work on this, or I need to work on that, because at the end of the day, you remember certain things about your round, but you don't really have an overview. So just a simple example of that might be, you know, you might miss 3 putts on the back 9 after making, you know, 4 or 5 putts on the front, you might think, geez, I need to work on my putting. But if you look at your stats over the course of several rounds, you might find out that you're a pretty good putter. You might be averaging, a good number of putts per round or putts per hole. And you might find that really where you're missing out is, you're missing a lot of fairways, or you're not getting up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And so this app is great. And, Bob, it only costs $1.49.
You know what else is nice about it? It'll tell you your scoring average per hole. So you can look after 10 rounds and you can say, geez, hole 8 or hole 9, pick a hole.
Yeah.
Pick 3 holes
that
you're doing poorly on, and you can say, okay, how can I play those holes differently?
Right. Why am I screwing up on that hole?
Yep.
And it might be surprising to you, too. There might be a hole that you consider to be one of your more difficult hole, or on the other end of the thing, an easy hole, and the stats just aren't bearing it out. So, hole 10 at the country club's a hole that I think is a pretty easy hole. But, last year I think I went maybe 5-6 rounds in a row without even parring it. And, I wonder how that hole, excluding that period of time, would stack up. Is this something that's persistent from season to season, something about hole 10? But I'm going to try it. And, it's kind of funny that you sent that over for your pick of the week, because I was listening to another golf podcast a couple days ago, and they had a author on named Dan Abrahams, who wrote a book called Golf Tough: Practice, Prepare, Perform, and Progress. And in the course of that interview, he actually advocated for one of these things. He said, look, stuff like this is technology that, only PGA Tours had available to them in the past. But now everybody does, on their phone. And, he reiterated the point that, data, it's the age of big data. And that just analyzing data over many rounds will reveal things about your game that you didn't know. So I'm downloading it for $1.49. I do agree with you that it might be difficult to do it as we go. But the thing about me with golf is I can remember every shot of every round. So I think what I'll do is when I get done, I'll just...
Takes 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll power through the whole round.
It doesn't take very long. And you mentioned you're talking about the Dan Abrams. They have a device out now, and I don't have any experience with it, but attaches to your belt, and you put on the end of your grip, you put a little flat coin-looking thing that fits into the grip, and you just tap it to the device that attached to your belt, and it shot links. It does basically what ShotLink does for the pros, and it shows everywhere you hit it on the course. It shows what club you took, because each club has its own little device in it. So that they're coming out with great stuff to evaluate your game and figure out where you need to improve.
It is a wonderful time to be alive.
Yeah.
So that's Bob's pick of the week. Again, that's Golfer Stats Pro by Golf Dixon. You can get it in the Android and is it an Apple product as well?
Yeah, it's iOS as well.
So okay, it's $1.49.
Mm-hmm.
At least the Android version.
Yes.
Which you can't beat that,
No, it's pretty good. Yeah.
If this was, if you wanted to just buy this software for a computer like back in the 90s, you're probably looking at $50.
Right.
$1.49, and you have it for the next time you play golf.
Right.
Well, moving on to the news of the week. Congratulations to Christine Schmidt. She's a member at Locust Hill Country Club. She shot a final round 3 over par 74 to finish with a 3-day total of 224 at the New York State Golf Association's Women's Amateur Championship. She won by 4 strokes ahead of Emily Doyle and Victoria DeGroot, who finished tied for second, 4 strokes back at 228. Kit Creighton and Rebecca Student rounded out the top 5, and Schmidt started the day tied for the league, built a 3-stroke lead after 8 holes, only to watch it shrink to 1 several holes later after she made a double bogey 6 on the par 4 10th. But she was able to steady the ship with a birdie on the 12th and played her last 7 holes at even par. Schmidt credited her father, who was acting as her caddy this week, for helping her stay focused. So congratulations, Christine Schmidt. That was the Women's New York State Am and the 2014 Women's Mid-Am, which is conducted on the same course, the same days, is the women's am. Had Joanne Beatty out of McCann Golf Course shooting a 3-day total of 240 to edge out Nancy Kroll to win the New York State Women's Mid-Am title. So that brings us to this week. New York State Men's Ams at Bellevue. You can get live scoring all week at NewYorkStateGolfAssociation.org. That's NYSGA.org. Starting tomorrow, Tuesday, July 22nd, they'll play round 1. Then Wednesday, it's round 2. And then on Thursday, the 24th, they'll play a morning 3rd round and an afternoon 4th round. And locally, Bob, we've got Nick Masterpole out of Tuscarora made the field. Joe Tesori, the renowned old pro at Cortland Country Club. Mm-hmm. Joseph Feeney out of Wayne Hills is in the field. Eric Edmonds at Highland up in Auburn. And Daniel Russo out of Schuyler Meadows. So good luck to all those folks from the Finger Lakes region competing at Bellevue and Syracuse for the New York State Men's Am.
Awesome.
Did you ever think of qualifying for any of these New York State Golf Association events?
I tried a few times.
For which?
It was New York State Mid-Am, I believe, and I did one in Buffalo, and I did another in Syracuse somewhere. I don't remember the golf course. I tried it twice. It was a great experience to go out.
$100 entry?
Yep.
And that gets you practice rounds and...
Yeah, oh yeah, and the nice thing was one of the times was the Country Club of Buffalo, I believe it was, and it was a great experience. It was a lot of fun. You go out there and you give it your all and try your best.
Did you come close? I know I gotta say wait.
No, I don't think I think I shot like maybe an 85 or something, and I think 79 needed to get in.
Yeah, not bad.
Not great.
Tough conditions, usually they set them up pretty tough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've actually been thinking a lot lately about giving that mid-am a shot, just like you say, for the fun of it.
It is. It's fun. And sometimes it's a great opportunity to play courses that you normally can't play for $100.
True. Yeah, good point. And every year they have a list of qualifying sites,
right.
And you can go to any one.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure you can go to multiple ones. So
yes.
You don't make it somewhere, you pay $100, go play another one
right.
A couple days later.
Yeah, you certainly can.
Well, one tournament that I did play in last week was the Nasty Money Invitational at Seneca Falls Country Club, and congratulations to Jason Peralt on another great event. Now, not too many people are concerned about the results on the course. It's more of just a great time.
Oh, it's a great time.
Course just packed with people and some drinking stations.
Yeah. Drinking stations, swimming stations. There's a lot of activities.
Music can be heard throughout the course. It's definitely something a little different, but a lot of fun. And the great thing about that thing is that it also brings a lot of people that don't golf a lot to the golf course to compete in it.
Right.
And it's just a lot of fun, and I think people having a lot of fun spending time out on the golf course. So, congratulations, like I say, Jason. And I think you won it, didn't you, Bob? Didn't you guys win?
No. I think we. You know what? I'm not sure. I think we tied.
How about that?
I think we tied and then lost in matching cards. You know what? I don't even know.
Yeah, like I say, you don't really concern yourself too much with the scores at the Nasty Money Invitational.
No.
So he'll be back next year with another edition.
Right.
I don't know if you caught this one, but Trevor Sluman.
Any relation?
Yeah, absolutely. His uncle is Jeff Sluman.
Wow. I know that guy.
Yep. He matched the feat of his uncle Jeff by winning the Rochester District Golf Association title this week. 4-time RDGA champ Jim Scorsese. I should know how to say that name. Scorsese? He finished runner-up at his home course, Stafford. Sluman, Scorsese, and Zachary Ottoman were the only 3 players to finish the 72-hole event under par. So
that's shooting. Yeah,
congrats, Trevor Sluman. Got a couple hole-in-ones, both from Millstone. Wow. Robin Smart aced the 159-yard 8th hole at Millstone using a 5-wood. And Joe Cheney aced the 193-yard 8th hole at Millstone using a 4-iron.
That's good shot.
So you can send us any news or aces, hole-in-ones to contact@fingerlakes1.com, subject line FLX Golfer. Got a big tournament coming up. Got your club championship, something to promote from a local golf course. Contact@fingerlakes1, subject line FLX Golfer or Finger Lakes Golfer. So, Bob, speaking of emailing us, we received an email from a viewer who suggested the 6th hole for our Finger Lakes Dream 18, and which was good because it helped me out a little bit, and I agreed with it. And at first, I didn't really think about it. But for the Finger Lakes Dream 18 segment, where this is our 6th episode, so this is our 6th hole. We need a sixth hole somewhere in the Finger Lakes. And we're going with the 6th hole at Trumansburg.
Nice.
It's a 345-yard par 4. You ever played Trumansburg?
Unfortunately, I have not. I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Well, Bob, I can actually pull up here a picture of the hole. And
oh, wow.
It's
big bunker there.
The most scenic tee shot at Trumansburg Golf Club. It's a short par 4. There's a hazard in play on the right side off the tee, and then you got tree line separating the hole on the left. You can see it's fairly tight. But a well-hit tee shot with a driver can set up an approach shot inside 100 yards to an elevated green. Of course, the driver brings the hazard into play. So an iron off the tee is sometimes a safe play, leaving you a short iron in. The putting surface is protected by a steep embankment and a bunker located short right. The green slopes from back to front, so going long sets up a tough up and down. But, the thing I love about this hole is it is scenic. One thing I like about a lot of golf, one trait or characteristic of golf holes I like is when they're kind of their own room. Like you're on that hole, you don't see much else.
Yeah.
And that kind of holds true of this hole. But I love the shot making opportunities that are afforded to you on the second shot to that elevated green, and you can see you've tucked that pin right. That's a tough pin.
Right. Yeah.
And you can also see the position of the pin will dictate where you want to hit off the tee.
Looks like you almost want to cut it in on there, right? You want to hit
Ideally,
kind of a little bit of cut.
Yeah. If that pin is anywhere right of that bunker, I think you want to cut, and they can really make a sucker pin by tucking that thing tight to the bunker. But great hole, and a lot of different decisions you can make out there. So that is the 6th hole of our Finger Lakes Dream 18. And next week we'll be back with the 7th hole.
7th.
So if you know of any great hole 7s across the Finger Lakes, email us. Yeah, contact@fingerlakes1.com, subject line Finger Lakes Golfer. And we'll announce the 7th hole next week, and we're almost rounding out our whole front 9.
Yeah. Let's hear the holes you guys have. We dare you.
We dare you. Well, we're already 9:44. Having Kevin on a little something outside our format, having that interview in the beginning, but well worth it. And I think,
absolutely.
But we're left with one last segment this week, and of course that would be my Zen tip of the week. So this week, my Zen tip of the week has to do with the way you kind of perceive your round is according to score. Now, a lot of people say the way to go is don't worry about your score, just add them up at the end. Easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
And especially people like to evaluate themselves after 9. And a lot of times you hear people saying, geez, I shot 43 on the front, but then I came back and shot 38 on the back.
Right, yeah.
But really, who knows? Maybe you shot 36 on the middle 9, maybe, or whatever. It's just arbitrary that there's a front and back 9, but that's what all the people always So my tip is to break your round up into smaller segments, not 9 holes. Try 6 holes or try 3 holes. And that way, when you are, I personally like 3. The pro Nick Serafino I used to caddy for, he would always do 6. Evaluate himself through 6, or when he's planning his round, look at the holes in groups of 6s. I like going 3 though, because like for instance at Seneca Falls Country Club, I, I'm not. When I'm on the first tee, I'm thinking of the next three holes. I'm playing 1, 2, 3, and where I kind of want to be at the end. And then when I get off a hole 3, it starts a new 3-hole segment, 4, 5, and 6, and
Right.
it helps you bounce back from a bad hole or a bad stretch. Because kind of the way I look at it is, look, every round of golf I have is going to involve good stretches and bad stretches, and how good the good ones are and how bad the bad ones kind of affect your ultimate score. But so if I happen to get off to a bad start in the first 3 holes, it's like, hey, maybe my bad stretch was right off the bat, and now I'll have just good stretches. So you get to that 4th tee, you got that next, if you can par, or par, birdie, par on that next 3-hole stretch, then you're going to be right back where you want to go. And it also keeps you from kind of dwelling on things. So let's say you get off to a great start. Let's say you go birdie, birdie, par on the first 3 holes. Look, it's kind of under this wake, and it's over. You're on to the 4th tee, and it's a new challenge. You got 3 new holes, and it really has nothing to do with the last hole. And I guess if you're getting really good at things, you would just take it hole by hole. But again, this is because it's almost impossible to take score out of your mind completely. So this kind of helps you get a little closer to that point. So I don't know what you think about this tip, Bob.
I like it. I think what works for me personally is you might think this is odd, but I like to think of 1-hole stretches.
Sure.
When I step on that tee, that's the first hole of my day. It's the only hole I'm going to play. And regardless of the tee shot, how can I make the best out of that hole? So it does 2 things for you. One, you're thinking, or you're trying to trick yourself into thinking, this is the only hole I'm playing, so let's make the best of it.
Yep.
And if I have a bad hole, I'm stepping up on the next tee, and that other one just never happened.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, that's the way to go about it, I think. And you feel pretty good about your ability to do this. I mean, you do pretty well put things out of your mind. I mean, not with 100%. Sometimes you get upset out there and carry it over. But, I think ideally going the 1 hole at a time is the best way. For my brain, though, for whatever reason, I really like that 3-hole stretch. And it's divisible by 6.
And it depends what works for you, right? What works the best.
Sure.
How can you work with it, and how can you comprehend it, and what works best? And I think that's for every golfer. You got to find what works best for you. And don't be scared to try stuff, right? Mentally.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's easy to try different mental things.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy a bag of balls. You don't have to,
No, it's free.
Yeah, that's right.
It's free.
Another thing that kind of adds to this conversation, I mentioned the Dan Abraham's book, Golf Tough, in the interview I listened to earlier this week. One thing that he suggested to do, and this is something that kind of intrigued me and I was thinking of trying, is, okay, you've had a bad hole or you've had a good hole, but, you hit the putt into the hole to end the hole. As soon as you reach into that hole to grab your ball out, that action signifies that it's over, and now you're on to the next hole. So if you can train yourself, almost like a Pavlov's dog, so your reflex actions after a while of practicing this is every time you reach in, that's the end of that. That's over, and then you just immediately focus on the next hole. So I thought, I'm going to buy this book, actually. You can obviously download it I think it's available on Amazon.
Nice.
And all your outlets, but it's called Golf Tough. Practice, prepare, and perform, and progress. Practice, prepare, perform, and progress. Sounds like a lot. By Dan Abrahams. I'm going to check that out and have a read.
Sounds like a worthy read.
So, geez, Bob, it's hot up here in the studio in July, isn't it?
Yeah, we had a humid night out there. It's warm.
What do you do for the heat? Like, is there anything different you do when it's this hot? I mean, you're wearing pants. You didn't even wear shorts tonight.
Well, I get out of work so late. I got to rush to the golf course and tee it up. It's tough.
So, but is there anything different? Your hands sweat, or you
carry
a towel?
I just try to keep my hands dry, and I finally found a grip that I like a lot for just about any weather. So I don't have a lot of issues with sweating too much.
What's the grip? Or you want to save that grip maybe for a future pick of the week?
Maybe I will. Because you know what? Right now I can't remember what it is.
Perfect.
It's a Golf Pride product, but I really like it a lot.
Well, another episode in the books, episode 6, coming up here at 9:51 Eastern Standard Time on a Monday night in the FingerLakes1.com studios. Hey, subscribe to us on YouTube. You're watching this on YouTube right now. Right below you there is a little subscribe button, probably right over there. It's red. You click it, and we're coming to you each week, along with all the other FingerLakes1.tv programs.
Good fortunes will come your way.
Yep. You can also head over to our website at podcast.fingerlakes1.com/FLXGolfer, where you can subscribe to us on iTunes, on Stitcher.com, and again on YouTube, or you can grab our RSS feed. And again, we'll be there for you every Monday, at least through the fall. And then who knows, maybe we'll go monthly. Maybe we'll just, I don't know what we're going to do all winter. Got a lot more time in the winter, right, Bob?
You ain't kidding. Too much time, right?
Yep. But, hey, before we get out of here, I just want to mention that special offer for FingerLakes1.com viewers. The Point Practice Putter, get $30 off retail price, or off the putting mat combo with the putter, get $30 off that retail price at getthepointgolf.com. The show's about to end, so go to it right now. And even if you're not planning on buying, go check out the site. There's some good stuff on there, and you really should check out the putting mat because it's cool. You hit the ball and it leaves a trail. It's like putting in the dew,
right?
Which is more good feedback. So check that out, and remember, coupon code FingerLakes1, FINGERLAKES 1, the digit 1. And you're going to receive that special discount from Get the Point for FingerLakes1.tv viewers. So Bob, I guess it'll be another week. We'll be back up here again.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about reading putts.
Yeah.
So that might be the subject. I
could learn a thing or two about that. So
I also want to talk about the best shot you've ever hit.
Ooh.
And the best shot you've ever seen.
Okay.
So something to think about.
I just already had 2 things come to my mind. So that's
nice.
Good. Yeah.
So
that'll be easy.
Thanks to again to Kevin Smith, the Point Putter, getthepointgolf.com, for spending time with us. Hopefully he will be up here with studio. We can hear about the best shot he ever hit.
Right. Yeah.
And thanks to all you who hung out with us for the past hour for episode 6 of the Finger Lakes Golfer Podcast. We'll be back next Monday night at 9 o'clock. Oh, you know what, Bob? Before I go, before I get out of here, I do have video of me using the point.
Oh.
And so I'd be remiss if I didn't at least show it. So it's very short, but here I am on hole 6 at the country club, or at the St. Falls Country Club, trying out the point putter.
Let's see how you did here.
Can't see my head there, but here we go. Got about 12 feet. Ooh, not bad.
Actually, that's really good.
That was a perfect strike. Now this one, not a perfect strike. Watch this. Boink.
Oh, it just goes off a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, you can sense it. So, oh, actually, there it is. Well, now we're having trouble. Okay. I think we pressed our luck. So, that's again the Point Practice Putter. And thanks to everybody for joining us. And again, we'll be back next Monday night at 9 p.m. where we'll talk about the best shot we've ever hit and the best shot we've ever seen. So if you got some shots in your head that you're thinking about now, send them to us at contact@fingerlakes1.com. Subject Finger Lakes Golfer. So until then, hit them long.
Hit them straight.
Not often.
Support great local content like this by becoming a patron of FingerLakes1.com. Visit patreon.com/FL1.
FingerLakes1.com. Come on and join